What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be upgrading the speakers in my Nissan Xterra. So if you're a music lover like me, then you probably understand that factory is okay, but aftermarket usually does it better. A couple years ago, I went ahead and upgraded my head unit, which made a drastic improvement in the sound and quality that I was getting out of my speakers. However, I wanted something a little bit louder, a little more crisp, and a little more depth. So I decided recently to go ahead and upgrade my speaker system. With what these speakers are able to handle, I might actually have to upgrade my head unit again so I can push even more power to them. But we're going to go ahead and install these today and see if it makes any difference. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in the box and see what we got. All right, so first and foremost, I had ordered this from Crutchfield.com. I believe that the price was probably around 110 shipped for front and rear speakers. One of the great things about Crutchfield, and maybe other sites as well, I don't know, but I have used Crutchfield in the past, is that they actually give you adapters to go ahead and splice into the factory wiring harness. And they also give you any kind of speaker adapters that you may need to help fit these into your vehicle. So I decided to go with Rockford Fosgate. I know that Nissan Xterra used to carry them in some of their upgraded models, so I decided that I wanted to throw them into this one, see how good they sound. Also, for the money, I feel that these were probably some better selections for what they were able to handle over some of the competitors. So this is going to be the rear speaker right here. And then for the front, we got these big boys right here. They're 6x9s. So let's go ahead and not waste any time. Go ahead and take the door panels off, crack open the boxes, and get them installed. All right, guys, so in order to first get started, we're going to start here on the driver's side door. If you remember my window regulator video, you would have known that I broke this, I broke a tab on this cover that goes right here. So that's one less thing we're going to have to worry about. Once you get that out, you're going to have a 10mm bolt right here. Then you're going to have to pop this up. You're going to have to disconnect this, take this off. This little back rest piece, you're going to have to take that off. And then once you take both these off, you have a 10mm bolt here. You have a 10mm bolt there. You're going to go around and you're going to pop all the tabs along this, and then you're able to take this door card off. So let's go ahead and get that 10mm bolt out. We'll pop these up, and then we'll get those other ones out and get this door panel off. All right, now that we've got all those bolts and the trim off, we're gonna go around with this tool. And we're gonna just put it right in the edge and slide it down and pop those tabs out so we can take off this door card. That piece is out of the way. You see that we have access here to our speaker. So these are gonna be 8mm bolts. So we're gonna go ahead and take those out and then fit up the next one just to make sure that we don't have to do any trimming or drilling, and go ahead and install it. Okay, right here you're gonna see there's a little tab. Just push that in, wiggle it. It should come right out. All right, let's fit up the new speaker. All right, here you can see the new speaker compared to the old speaker. I'm not a speaker expert. I know that there's obviously some difference between these. This material feels a whole lot nicer than what this does, but this is 13 years old. So what can you expect? I'm just really happy with the way it looked. Let's go ahead and fit it up and throw this thing in, see what it sounds like. All right, so right out the gate, I'm trying to fit it up and I see that it's not sitting flush. And it seems like something over here in this corner. So we're gonna take that off. I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring it in here. Right here, you can see there's a little tab sticking out. I'm assuming that was to align things up with the old speaker. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut that off so this thing can sit flat and then see if our holes match up. All right, so before we go any further, as you can see, the bolt holes are not lining up as well as we'd like. So we're gonna have to go take it over to the table, get the Dremel out, and do a little trimming. much trimmed back as much as we wanted on the speaker to be able to fit. Crutchfield sends these adapter wires or adapter harnesses, and just find out which side clicks in. Clicks in just like that, and then you just connect these two to the back of the speaker. All right, so as you can see, the speaker wires right here. These are the connectors. So we're just gonna go ahead and put them in like so. And I found the trick, if you wiggle it back and forth, it moves down pretty good, and then you should hear that audible snap. All right. So those are wired up. So we're just gonna set this right here. We're gonna turn on the car and make sure it works properly. All right, now that we've got it wired up, we know that it works. Let's go ahead and get this thing bolted in and put this back on. Okay guys, we finally got it locked in. The one thing I did not like about this is there was not enough clearance here. You see how much that we had to kind of use the Dremel to move that out. And it's really in each one of these spots. So what the issue was is that my socket kept hitting the plastic surround, and then I couldn't thread these in. And they did send some bolts with it, but they wouldn't have been large enough to secure it with the metal bracket here in the back. So I don't know. That's, as far as I can see, that's the only back draw so far of these. But I mean, it's nice and locked in there in place with a little bit of modification, and it works and it sounds great. So we're gonna go ahead and put everything back on the door, and then we're gonna move to the back door. All right guys, now we are back here on the driver's side passenger door. And I'll tell you, I do have prying tools for trim, but I found that actually using the screwdriver has been a little bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and get this cover piece off here. There we go. Well, wasn't too bad. And then you're gonna take the screwdriver, bring it in the top here, kind of push out like that, which is what I should have done in my window regulator video, and then I wouldn't have broken, I don't know, one of these clips. But all right, that's good. There's our 10mm bolt right there. Gotta get this up, get this pad up, and then we can jump in there and get this door done. I know it sounds awful, but I'm not breaking anything, so it's all good. All right, and then just like in the front, you have these window switches. Just gonna press that in, then slowly pull it out. There you go. I'm gonna get this back piece off, which should be fairly easy. Yeah, it's already coming up. So I found on pretty much all these doors, whenever you do this, if you come from the back and go up, all clips are good. If you come from the back and kind of move your way up, it comes out a little bit easier. All right. And these are 10mm again. We're just gonna go ahead and undo these. And then we can go around and pop the tabs again. And get this door card off, get that speaker out. And one step closer to being finished. All right, I am gonna use this tool though to go around and pop these tabs. All right, all the tabs are popped. Now we just gotta pull up and out of that groove. There we go. All right, so here's our driver's side passenger speaker. Looks like it's just gonna be 3 bolts, a connection. And we'll take that right out, and then I'll show you the kit that we have to replace it. All right, simple enough. Get the screwdriver in here. Pull it out, screwdriver right there. Press that. All right, well, we're not gonna need that anyway, so. Okay, speaker out. Let's get the new one measured up and then put in. All right, so this is gonna be our Rockford Fosgate 3-way rear speaker. This is the bracket that they send with it. So just putting it in, I can tell that it does not sit flush. And if you look on the back, we'll take this out here. If you look on the back, so right here, it's got these little tabs all the way around. So where the screws are gonna go are gonna be on the outer edge here of our speaker, which are gonna correspond to 1, 2, 3, 4 holes right here. These tabs, potentially for a different type of speaker, would have been where they would have attached to. However, we don't need them, so we're gonna go ahead and take the Dremel tool, cut all those off, and then go ahead and attach our speaker to this before we go and get it set up on the truck. All right, so as you can see, I just came back from doing the Dremel. Just basically cut all those little tabs off, and then now we put our speaker in, and it fits nice and flush like it should. So I'm gonna go ahead and find out where all these holes line up, go ahead and put my screws in, and then get ready to take it over back to the door. All right guys, as you can see, I now have the speaker mated with the bracket. One thing I did notice here, which you can see, is the screws have gone all the way through. So that potentially could be an issue once we try to mount it to the door. I guess we'll find out here in a minute and see if we need to drill any holes in the door to make these fit. Or I guess if you had the capabilities, you could just go ahead and lop those off and then it'd be nice and flush. But let's go look at the door and see what we got. All right, and just like the front door, we're gonna do the same thing with this back. Just go ahead and attach these together, and then these ends will attach to the speaker. Now, what's different about the front and the back is if you see here, this actually comes out and it connects to the top of the factory speaker. Well, ours are in the back. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to take this, move it out just a little bit, and then find a hole to then thread it back behind the speaker so it'll fit properly. I see a hole here. All right, so we're gonna pull this through. All right, and there's a hole right here that we're just gonna go ahead and push this down in through. There you go, and now we got our wires down here. And then we can just go ahead and just push that back on. Okay, so as I suspected, the screws are hitting the metal here. So I'm gonna mark where each of these screws are, and I'm just gonna drill a hole just to make it quicker and easier, and then we'll just insert the whole thing in and connect it and bolt it down. Well, that's not bad for a first time go. They all fit in there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and connect this speaker up, bolt it down, and make sure it works, and we're done. And I will say, before we go ahead and bolt it up, we are gonna vacuum out all those little shavings that we just drilled in there. I know somebody was gonna say something. All right guys, as you can see, driver door is complete. Got the door card back on. Passenger door is complete, door card back on. Now we just have the passenger side to do, so we're gonna go over there, do the exact same thing that we did here on the driver's side, and then conclude this video. All right guys, and that's gonna conclude the video today. I appreciate you coming along for the ride. I hope you learned something today. I know that I sure did. So in full disclosure, this whole job, all 4 doors, took me 6 hours to do, and the purchase of a Dremel. Many times when you're reading instructions online, it sounds very easy and upfront, and that there's not gonna be any issues going into the project. However, we found out today that that's not necessarily the truth. So there may be speakers that actually fit on the factory brackets in the front. Obviously mine didn't, so that's why I had to go get a Dremel tool and then also make some modifications. However, they fit perfectly fine now, and I'm never gonna see them again, so I'm not gonna have to see the ugliness of that modification. And that's okay, because I did read in a lot of places that you may have to do modifications such as trimming, drilling, things of that nature to make speakers fit in certain areas. However, I wasn't necessarily prepared for that today, so it kind of caught me a little off guard, but nevertheless, we got it finished and they sound absolutely amazing. The back speakers were a little more easy, but I'll say if you ever have to use a mount, go ahead and mount your speakers to it So like me, my screws actually jutted out a little farther than what they should have. So that was good in the sense that it gave me a template to go ahead and put it up and drill the holes so they fit. Now, again, if you didn't want to drill the holes and you have a tool that you can go ahead and lop off those screws, go ahead and do that. It'll be nice and flush and it'll fit perfectly. One more thing that I did notice about putting the speakers in the back doors is on this side, one of the adapter wires actually overlapped the mechanism where the window goes down. It wasn't a big deal. I just went ahead and disconnected it and rerouted it around there so it wouldn't get caught up in the window regulator going up or down. And that's just something to think about if you're putting speakers in. You have to relocate where the wire previously was to then where it's going to be compatible with your aftermarket speakers. Overall, I'd say this job is pretty straightforward though. It's very minimal tools, flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, 10mm socket, 8mm socket, and if you have to do the modifications such as I did, a Dremel tool would definitely come in handy. So if you did find this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to share the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also the post notification bell so you don't miss any more videos on the Xterra to come. And as always, thank you for watching.
Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I absolutely love these speakers. They sound awesome. I'm over the moon about it. In fact, I'm actually going to jump into the Xterra right now, take a little cruise, crank up the music.